Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Twitch OGs, from Justin TV to Twitch, with your host, Bobby Glass, a.k.a. Chingy1337.
Now, this panel is all about reminiscing. It's a combination of story time and just going over some history about what happened before Twitch TV, of course. Now, this panel is going to be broken into about 3 periods. We have the Justin TV period, we have the gaming Justin TV period, and, of course, the early days of Twitch. Now, I cannot do this alone at all, and that's why we have an awesome panel today filled with amazing OGs, starting off with Lethalfrag. We have Spamfish in the house. Mr. MANvsGAME. DansGaming. Kreyg. No doing the face? There we go. OK. Sweetielise. Welcome, welcome. Brad from 4Player Podcast. And, of course, Swiftor. Now, everybody, let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? And we're going to start off with a little-known website called Justin TV. Now, Justin TV, for those who don't know it, it was a bunch of different categories ranging from social, pets and animals, gaming, and, of course, our favorite, the sports category, which would crash the servers every single weekend. Oh, you don't like sports? OK, fair enough. So, to start off, Swift and Brad, when you first saw JTV, what went through your head? What attracted you to the site? And why did you decide on it as your platform of choice?
Brad was there before me, so he's going to go first.
Oh, OK. Yeah, I guess I will go first. Thanks, Swift. Well, I guess when I found Justin TV, there wasn't many people playing games. It was mostly like live casting, people staring at webcams and chatting with people. But back in 2007, we were a podcast, and I saw another similar show that streamed on Justin TV. So I was like, I can do that. And then I realized, well, I play games every day. Might as well turn the webcam around, point it at the TV, and it's kind of what you did back then. But I guess we stuck with Justin TV because streaming early on, it's kind of hard to get noticed, but because of Justin TV's like YouTube uploader, people started uploading clips to their own YouTube pages, and then, one day I was just like broadcasting, playing like Condemned or something, and people popped in the chat and were like, Scooter Brothers, and I'm like, why are you saying that? And they're like, no, your video, it's like viral now, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I guess this GATV's tools are pretty sweet, so we kind of just stuck with it.
Cool, yeah. So for me, I was hanging out in 2008, late 2007 in IRC chat room for video game music with my friends, and one guy, freaking Richie Manic, is like, yo, dog, yeah. He's like, yo, come watch me play video games. And I was like, yo, dude, that's dumb. Like, why would I watch you play video games? Like, I could play myself. But no, I go in there because, gotta be a friend or whatever, and it was actually really cool. It was like I was like hanging out like with my friends, like like a living room, like it was like bringing back. It was like so much fun. So then just figured like, yo, let me scrounge up some stuff. Him and Schlepp kind of helped me like, get the gear I needed, like a Neighbor Media capture card or some crappy $5 mic from like Radio Shack, and it was just like an indescribable thing, right? I'm sure all of us have felt just being part of like a community, having friends, and just like it was just a great experience.
Awesome. So next question. For Sweetielise and Kreyg, describe JTV for those who weren't able to actually experience it.
Oh, well, when I was on JTV, it was like 2000. Well, I got there on 2008, but then I made my account in 2009. And back then, it was just a tight-knit community, just a lot of like, you just like had like / invite friends or is it followers or no? No, it wasn't followers back then. It was just friends or just / invite, and then just like you tell like everyone go to this channel, and it's like you just have a lot of fun, and it was just you didn't really do it for like any other reason for like to do. You didn't do it for money. You just did it because you loved it. You loved having interaction. You loved having entertainment for everyone else, and I don't know what else. That was pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't.
Pretty much. It was also the Wild West of streaming.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything goes. You could get away with so much that you can't get away with today. But it was very much overcrowded with just useless features. She said there was like friends, favorites. Like there was like 3 different ways to follow a person.
Remember Meebo?
Yeah, and then there was the Meebo bar, which they kind of brought back with Whispers, but it's not just like its own standalone thing. But it was just so much stuff going on, and then over time they stripped it down and made it just like streaming. But it was also a really good time because you could do so much and get away with it, and we all took advantage of that, I'm sure.
And it's funny that you mentioned those features because now we're starting to go a little bit full cycle.
Cool.
We've got friends again. We've got the Whispers. I'm just wondering what's coming next.
Right.
Which social?
Yeah. So next question for Dan and Man. What are some of the best moments on JTV for you guys?
You go first. I was hoping Dan would go first because now I have to try and remember some of my best moments. I guess early on, for me, one of my most memorable moments would be when I broke 100 concurrent viewers playing Bayonetta. I remember Ezekiel III was over that day, and it was just so amazing at the time to just fathom that there were over 100 people watching us play a video game. Zeke busted out the Truffle Shuffle, which again is kind of like the thing where you can get away with more. But yeah, from what I understand, male nips are okay once again on Twitch.
They are?
Yeah,
I can just rip my shirt off right now.
Absolutely.
Please do.
But yeah, that's
the end of the panel.
that's one of the moments that sticks out for me because it just felt like, wow, this is really happening. This idea I had to just stream myself playing games. It seems to be resonating with people out there, and it really made me hopeful for the future.
Do you guys remember Chippin'? Yeah. Remember Chippin'? I remember the first time I was streaming and someone that I didn't know on the internet gave me money because I was playing a video game online. It was just mind-blowing back in the day. And another great, I remember getting an email back from the Justin TV staff. They're like, we wanted you to test this new thing we're trying called the Partner Program. I was like, wait, what? And I remember getting that first payment of $10, and I was just like, hell yeah.
That's the life right there.
I remember I had been streaming for I think over a year, and I had no idea the partnership program even existed. And I remember a fellow streamer by the name of Slayer, shout outs to Slayer, he sent me a message and said, wow, you're really good. So he started talking about the partnership program, and I was like, what the hell's the partnership program? And that was how I found out about that. But yeah, those are the days.
So next up is a little bit of a talk about equipment being used back in those days. And now I have to warn everybody, if you are a broadcaster, this is a trigger warning for you. As we go on to our next slide here. And this.
Oh, God.
So you guys know about it. All right. So this Flash Media Encoder. All of you people starting out nowadays, you have XSplit and OBS. You're lucky. Compared to this thing, we try to pump out one consistent audio feed, 30 frames a second, 640 by 360 resolution. It was a pain in the butt. So my question for Spam and Lethal, can you talk about the tech a little bit more behind running a stream in the JTV days? And for Lethal, what did you use early on?
That screen right there is why I did not start streaming sooner. I was doing YouTube at the time, and I was looking into streaming options, and I tried that, and I could not figure it out. So I didn't actually start until XSplit came out, because it was really convoluted. I really tried for several days to make that work, and no go.
Yeah, I started streaming with XSplit as well. Obviously, I've been chosen for this question because of my high level of professionalism and broadcasting on my stream. But yeah, I remember my first ever stream, like a year before I started properly, was like a 10-minute clip of me trying to work out how Flash Media Encoder works. And it's just the camera turns on and it's me looking around, and I couldn't quite get it to work. And there was another platform, I forget, the really expensive broadcasting software. Wirecast. And you could tell back in the day the people that used Wirecast and the people that use Flash Media Encoder. And as it's already been mentioned, you know, you've got, you know, inbuilt with the Xbox, inbuilt with PS4 now, you can just stream without even thinking about it. You know, you can stream on Steam, you can just press a button and watch someone's broadcast. And it's just so surreal to see just how easy it is to stream now and how accessible it is, considering just how convoluted and some of the rigmarole you have to go through just to get a stream live, let alone a quality stream, you know. I actually went back and watched a lot of footage of, you know, all these amazing people's streams, and you know, like 600p was good quality, 350p, and it's like now, like you see the levels of production people bring to streaming. It's like almost Hollywood levels, and it's happened in such a short space of time, but has grown so much. So it's so exciting to see the way it's changing.
It's just so amazing how far we've come. You talking about it in 8 years.
Yeah.
Do you remember the built-in broadcaster on Justin TV?
Yes.
Yes.
On 2.
On 2?
On 2.
I remember I used that. It was horrible. One of my first streams, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, I guess. And then someone's like, bro, you should just use FME. It's way better. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I checked it out. No, it wasn't. It was way more complicated.
But just the fact of how far we have come as an industry and a form of entertainment is so amazing. And this makes me sick. I just imagine, Lethal, you're doing your 2-year challenge, right? This thing's crashing every single night on you. Well, I mean, that would just crush inspiration almost. But like, it's just so phenomenal that we have companies nowadays that support. Well, now we're up to 4K, and that's starting to grow. It's absolutely phenomenal. So now we go on to a little bit of an unknown factor in the Twitch history, and that's gaming Justin TV. And now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't delete my email. I'll be completely upfront with you. Now, I found this email from Justin Con, and a big shout out to him for letting me use this, but basically detailing what their mission was with JTV Gaming and basically creating a subsite for gamers because the community was growing at such a rapid pace. So for Brad and Swift, JTV Gaming brought a sense of separation from the rest of the website. We didn't really have to worry about sports crashing our servers every single weekend. What were your first reactions to a site dedicated to gaming? And yeah, what were your thoughts?
So first, like, great question. Although before that, Justin Con, like, we wouldn't be here without that dude. And today he's getting married, so congratulations to Justin Con.
Yeah.
And definitely shoot a tweet congratulating. I mean, the dude. I wish it was here last year. That was great.
Right.
But yeah, I think, like, you know, for anyone who was like broadcasting then, like, it seemed like a very natural thing for like gaming to kind of get like its own, like, you know, like dedicated portion of the site. It was a very natural process, and you know, gaming was just kind of like, you know, the key content. I know like community managers like Tia Marie at the time were pushing for it, and it happened, and it felt like it was right. So it was cool to see it happening, and like you said, with the servers kind of being like, you know, dominated by sports, we just needed that. For the site to grow, they need to really give us, like, you know, the room we needed to make that happen.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just sports back then. There was a lot of weird stuff that other people did, even myself. But when Justin TV first started, like, there was no organization. I remember there being a bar of thumbnails on the top of the site, and if you can like get enough viewers to make it into that bar, you had it made, especially because there was no gaming back then. So if they saw a gaming channel, you know, it was exciting to see yourself up there. But there was no organization, and we did weird stuff before it became like, you know, more gaming focused for us. Like, I'm gonna admit, we streamed out some movies. We watched some movies back then, until one day I came home and my friend Juan was there over, and he was unwrapping a DVD of Iron Man 2, which came out that day, and I was like, no, we are stopping. We are all going to go to jail. And, you know, we were kind of getting popular, and gaming was getting popular, and that was kind of the time when, you know, it was time for kind of gaming to become its own thing. And I'm glad it did, because otherwise I'd probably be in jail right now.
And I think as a testament, basically, for this subsite, Justin Kahn asked us, and the whole entire team asked us, what we wanted from this website. They were always taking opinions. They were wondering what we were doing in our events, and they were featuring us in spotlights. And it just goes to show you how much they wanted to be involved, of course. They wanted to grow gaming. And just to see that dedication, for me, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I was really impressed when I got like a email that says, hey, we're going to do this conference call so we can talk about all these ideas for like the gaming side. And I was on this conference call with all these people, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I was throwing out my own ideas, and some of that actually made it into what became Twitch. And now you can actually search a game, when back then you couldn't do that. Mm.
And you mentioned the top bar on Justin TV with all of the profile pictures. Who here remembers the day that they allowed GIFs on the very top of the page? They allowed it for, I think, about 5 to 8 hours, and the site died immediately. And I wish I had a screenshot of the types of GIFs that were going up. Everybody kind of knew each other back in the Justin TV days up on that top bar. But we found out that there were some people that were really trolly and putting up some messed up GIFs on the top. It was crazy. So now we're going to go into the early Twitch days. And some of you saw this during the keynote yesterday. Oh. This is how early Twitch TV looked. They started showing up at expos and basically trying to get the word out that this is a site developed for live stream and gamers alike. I love the logo. It's fantastic. So for Sweetielise and Kreyg, what were the early days of Twitch like for you, and what was captivating about it, and how was the move from JTV?
Well, for one thing, it was like there was two camps. One that didn't want to leave JTV, and then the other that was like, full steam ahead, let's go. I was like in the middle where I was like, I don't know where they're going with this, but I feel like I'm going to be left behind if I don't. And it's like, well, look at that logo. It's so bad. God.
Yeah, the layout was pretty terrible. I also remember early on for Twitch, especially like right before Twitch, esports started becoming really popular, and a lot of esports streamers started getting on Justin TV. And there was some contention between the casual streamers and the esports guys. And we're like, get your esports out of here. You don't want to. It was all StarCraft 2 at the time. We're like, we don't want your StarCraft 2 here. And it ended up being for the best that they came, because they brought in way more viewers. And then once we saw that, we're like, oh, okay, this is good for us. Let's just keep going. Let's welcome them. But I remember early on, I didn't want to switch over. I remember I specifically, whenever I streamed for a good like 5-6 months after they launched Twitch, I always linked my Justin TV channel link when I tweeted out. And I was like, I'm not making the switch. I'm not making the switch.
Which was useless. You were on there anyway.
Yeah, because it always redirected to that page anyway. So it was pointless to resist. But just seeing where it's come and where it was, it's incredible. I mean, I never thought it was going to. Like, when I started in 2008, I didn't think it was ever going to reach where it is now. I mean, people laughed at you. It's like, oh, you stream video games? Now it's like, oh, wow, cool, that's awesome. Yeah, I watch League of Legends. I watch this, I watch that. And it's really cool to see where it's come from back in the day. But early on, it was, I think we were just worried that esports was going to take over, and us casual people were going to get pushed aside. But that didn't happen, thankfully. So
this is actually a question that I kind of want to ask as a free-for-all type question, because like you guys mentioned, there was one subgroup of people that didn't want to move over. They were worried. They didn't want to lose their following on Justin TV. Of course, it ended up being just fine. But I know for me, I was in France, and this update happened. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be months behind on this. It was absolutely frightening. And again, everything turned out just well. Does anybody else have other thoughts about the move?
I recall being told about the idea of moving the JTV gaming section to its and like rebranding it to its own site early on before it happened. I had some insider info, and I remember I loved the idea because they talked about how easy it would be for them. Like they would keep a lot of the advertising on the site, you know, gaming centric, and I just love the idea of it being like a gaming, you know, a site for streaming video games. I always felt kind of silly telling people the name of the site that I streamed on. It's like, yeah, I stream on Justin.tv. They're like, who the hell is Justin? And you know, and they'd go there, and yeah, it was kind of a mess. You know, they had the weird-looking gorilla emotes and everything, which I still hate to this day. But so I was all for it, and yeah, like Kreyg kind of mentioned, I remember in the early days, the first layout of the site. I remember the tagline. The first tagline they had was "Better than real sports."
Right.
And I was like, "What is this shit?" And so there was definitely like a chasm there, where like it was like this sort of like indie streamers on one side, esports on the other side.
I think that also contributed to like the gap right there. It was just we thought they were going in a very esports centric direction, and it was like, oh man, we're done.
Yeah,
all these years we're over.
And I'll just say, I remember Emmett Shear, the CEO, doing some interviews, I think with Swiftor and myself. They were very, you know, they wanted to make sure that everybody knew that they were going to be all inclusive. You know, it was not going to be just esports. They did eventually drop the "better than real sports" tagline, which I lobbied hard for that. But I definitely was all for the site rebranding and becoming its own thing because I liked that idea. It was just, you know, easier for me to talk about.
It's funny, there's a lot of parallels between that time period and now with small streamers and large streamers, where the esports is getting all the attention from Twitch, they're getting all the promotion, all the front page spots, and the casual people that were on Justin TV before esports came in were all in that hating esports camp. And not to mention, every time esports had an event on the weekend, the chat would be just down. The site would not work. You could
Reminiscent
not
of
stream
real
on the
sports
weekend.
almost on JTV.
It wasn't better than real.
I remember my chat doing some weird stuff. Like, you would type a message, and 20 minutes later, it would show up in chat. And it was just the most crazy thing ever.
Can we just, sorry to ramble, but do you remember the, like, when they started dividing up the chat rooms
That
into, like,
was the
multiple
Yeah.
chat rooms?
Oh my God.
And so, like all you would see is just like, can you see me? Like, the only comments, because, like, in your channel, there would be, like, 8 different chats that people would be, like, pushed into.
They would keep refreshing to try to get to the first one.
Yeah.
Or were you trying to say something, Spam?
I just remember, like, when the change made, I felt a member of Justin TV, the whole community. You know, obviously, I probably shouldn't talk about it. I used to love watching the American Office 24-hour streams, or Dragon's Den and Shark Tank, or NFL streams. I remember thinking, I want to be part of the whole community. And that was the biggest change for me. And obviously, as been mentioned, there was a huge focus on esports. I remember, like, all the variety casters worried about where our place would be and how we going to get found. And it was so much StarCraft 2 and League of Legends blowing the channel up, but obviously it brought more viewers in for everyone. So, you know, in hindsight and retrospect, you know, it's a great thing. But I was against the change. I wanted it to be Justin TV forever. So
Yeah.
It's interesting to see the way it's developed.
Right on.
Yeah, very nice. So next question for Man and Dan. I guess kind of everybody. Let's do everybody basically. Looking back, I think it's safe to say all of you have been very successful. In running your broadcast. What would you say to your past self when you first began on your quest to run a gaming live stream?
Trademark the word Twitch. I would say I went through a phase where I was so focused on viewers and growth and numbers that, like, I stopped having fun streaming. And that's when I was doing my worst, is when you're so focused on growth and growth alone that you don't even have fun streaming anymore. If you don't have fun, then you don't grow and you don't have fun doing it, and your audience doesn't have fun. So I would advise my old self just to relax and enjoy streaming, and then everything will come naturally from that.
Yeah.
I would definitely want to tell myself, I would like to remind myself that there is more to streaming than just getting in front of the camera and playing a video game for 8 hours a day. There's so much more to it, like the business side of it. Like, I am so bad at keeping up with emails, keeping in contact with people. That aspect of it, I think, I still need to learn how to do well, because I think that's the part of streaming that you know, it is a job, and so if you don't approach it that way, you start falling behind. People lose interest. So, I mean, it's definitely a balance for me now of, like, you know, focusing on doing the actual stream, but then also saving enough time to, you know, answer emails, the messages that are sent, you know, respond to tweets, because, you know, the thing that makes this medium so great is it's very much like a communal, you know, very interactive thing. And my approach early on was very much just like, you know, let me entertain you. If you want to watch, great. If not, you know, whatever. Yeah, I definitely want to keep up on, like, the business side of things. I think that's helpful if you're looking to become, you know, successful streaming.
Nice. How about, I definitely want to hear from Brad as well on this, subject. Because you've definitely had a unique path compared to other broadcasters. You share a channel with a bunch of other guys, and I'm interested to hear from you. What would you tell your past self?
The first thing I would do is not start with a number, because they made me spell it out, and now there's so much confusion because we have to spell out our name every time now. But I'd probably, when people told me I was loud back in the day, I probably should have listened and actually turned down the mic. In hindsight, they were probably right. But I don't know. I mean, since we were a group, we were so, like, focused on our own thing. You know, we had the podcast, we had a website, we were writing articles and stuff. And because of that, I feel like we didn't, like, you know, I mean, I knew Swift back then, but there was a lot of people that we really didn't interact with because we were a group. And I think maybe if we change anything, it would be, you know, maybe be a little more social, you know. So I would know more of these lovely people more than I do now, but Swift was cool. I was always jealous of Swift back in the day. I always said he had all the cables in the world because his stream was, like, perfect and ours was chugging. You know, the hardest thing back then was there was no, like, YouTube videos or message boards explaining how all this stuff worked, you know. Yeah. So you just had to kind of find out from other people how to do this correctly. And back then, you know, we were, again, focused on ourselves. So, you know, we struggled where Swiftor had the smoothest frame rates. But, you know, in hindsight, it was pretty cool still.
And it's funny that you bring up tutorials while searching for this OG panel, some things. I actually came across Dan, your tutorial on how to make a highlight on Justin TV. If you guys have not checked that out, it is amazing. It is so in-depth, and it really shows kind of what we had to go through. We had to learn. There was some sort of process in order to efficiently run your broadcast. And because of people like Dan, other people actually succeeded with that tool.
Yeah, navigating those programs back in the day were just a nightmare because no one knew about them because Justin TV was so small that there's hardly any guides for anything.
Right.
And when you finally learned how to do it, you're like, okay, I got to share this with other people so they know how to do it.
Right. So before we move on, again, I want to concentrate on this question because I think a lot of people can relate at home. I want to hear from Swift and Lethal as well.
Sure. So, I mean, one thing I would definitely change, I definitely hit a point where, like, oh, people really like my Call of Duty stuff. It was catching on YouTube, and I went, like, 100% with that. And it definitely, like, paid off in some respects, but I definitely regret, like, slowing down on things like other games I really loved. Like, I played less, like, JRPGs. I loved, like, there were games I enjoyed that I just played less. I was like, no, I should really focus on this thing because people like it. And I regret it today because now I've, like, it's a very, like, niched community. I love my community, absolutely, but, like, it's so hard to kind of go back and play these other games, and it'll take me time to kind of build back into that, but I do wish I can go back and tell myself, like, dude, keep on playing the games you actually really love to play, and, like, so you can, you can do both. You can do it. So that's what I've told my past self.
Excellent.
One thing I would change for sure is would have been a lot easier on myself. I think something probably everybody in this panel hasn't come. We're all pretty hypercritical of ourselves to always put on our best show or really be our best content. You really feel like crap when you feel like you put on a bad show or you had a bad interaction. And really, it's all just part of the flow. We're all human beings here. We all make mistakes. And I would have told myself, you know, it's okay to mess up and you don't need to be so hard on yourself. It's all in good fun.
Nice. So, starting with Spam and Lethal, and again, going around the whole entire panel, simply put, where do you guys see Twitch going in the future? I want you to make a prediction.
I think it's super exciting. Obviously, the end is the beginning and the start at the same time. You see the reintroduction of the new channel out now, which I'm sure we're all excited to check out when we get back. Obviously, you're seeing variety come back now. It's not just games. You've got social eating. You've got creative. You've got all kinds of stuff, and it's great to see Twitch go back to that. Obviously, Twitch Prime is a huge thing that's happened. That I'm sure everyone's excited about. The validation that gives the platform even more. The fact that it's so integrated to the leading website in the world is super exciting. Also, with the rise of VR, you're seeing the VR streams now and how people are integrating that. So I'm sure in like 10, 15 years' time, we'll all be holograms in people's rooms playing games alongside them. Also, while I've got the mic, I want to give the shout-outs to all the other awesome JTV casters. I see Brichter, I see Big Richie, Great GQ, everyone else. We are just 9 of so many amazing casters that could be here. So big ups to them. But, I almost want to see the return of the Twitch, the JTV badges. My channel is beloved. My channel is popular. I used to love when I got my badge, or my channel is high quality if we broadcast in 720p. Maybe they'll be brought back as well. But who could have known what would have happened in the last 2-3 years? So I'm sure none of us can speculate to see where Twitch is going to go.
Yeah, I can say not in my wildest dreams would I imagine the site would be where it is now. When I first started, it wasn't a guarantee that you could make a living streaming. There was no real monetization. The only ad on the site was ragu pasta sauce. God bless the people that watched that 5,000 times for me. But as far as the future goes, Twitch just keeps growing and growing, and now we have all these different sections. It's kind of gone back to an all entertainment, not just gaming, which is great to see. So the future is bright. I can't wait to see what happens.
Definitely. And just a heads up, I forgot to mention it. We do have Q&A. If you guys want to line up, we'll be taking questions after this, like right there. Yes, the spotlight is shining on it. It's perfect. So yeah, Swift. Let's start.
I'm just excited about the technical aspect of like the VR stuff. Absolutely, I think it'll be a couple of years, but I'd love to see it where if people want to feel like they're actually hanging out in the same room as me, they put on this thing, they're watching the broadcast, or like in a seat in my car in GTA, just kind of really make it even tighter knit. I want to bridge that gap between where people they're in their homes and my home and just make it the same place. But I think we're still far away from actually reaching that, but I feel like it'll come.
As for the future of Twitch, I really think that they should look into mobile gaming because there's just a large demographic of people. And I've been asking them for years, when are you going to make a mobile app? And it's we really need something like that. And it's there's a lot of opportunities that people can take from that. And there's not really anything to say that.
Kreyg?
For the future, I like the idea of VR. We've always talked about that in my stream. It's one day you're going to be able to just be sitting right next to me. I mean, I'm scared of what you're probably going to do while you're sitting next to me in VR. I don't want to know. Don't ever tell me. But I think that's really going to be something that hopefully one day we get to see. So it really, I mean, I've always looked at streaming as everyone just kind of hanging out, sitting on the couch together, but not really. But one day that might actually be a possibility, and I would really love to see that happen, and that would be the coolest thing ever, and that's where I want to see it go, and that's where I hope it goes. But I think they've done a great job so far of making the site awesome and keeping it running, and I'd like to see that continue as well. But VR, all the way. I'm for VR.
I think it's kind of funny how it started as Justin TV, but Twitch is slowly becoming Justin TV again, without all the illegal stuff, I have a feeling that they're going to be adding more of the things they can add over time. They started with music. I'm sure movies are going to pop up on Twitch at some point, pay-per-view, and you can chat as you're watching a movie and stuff. It's kind of funny, like we're going full circle from where we started.
Right.
I think we're going to see the government push that bill through Congress that's finally going to kill streaming any copyrighted content. The bubble's going to burst, and the whole thing's going to go tits up. So it's been fun. Let's enjoy it while it lasts, folks. I honestly have no idea where it's going to go. I would love, of course, it's just going to keep growing and expanding, like the juggernaut that Twitch has become. But that's the thing, you know, Twitch, they are the smartest guys in the room with this whole thing. Like, I'm just sort of along for the ride. I have no idea, you know, how they're going to change and grow. I've been surprised with, you know, every time they roll out a feature, I'm just like, that is a great idea. I didn't even think I wanted that, but that's awesome. So, I don't know. I'm like the worst guy to ask that question about, so.
I think it's just interesting hearing, I think it was Emmett Shear last week on the TechCrunch event. I don't know if you guys caught that, but basically Twitch is aiming purely at nerd culture. And he was talking about how social eating was introduced, and it's silly. It's absolutely fantastic as well. But now people within the United States, where it wasn't necessarily popular, it's now becoming popular because of Twitch, and just these different categories that people might not understand or know about are growing outside of national boundaries because of Twitch. I mean, just where I see the future going, continuing with nerd culture. I think he has the right idea about going that route, and I'm excited to see where we go, because it is only growing more and more and more every single year. So, do we have any questions, actually, from the audience? You can line up over here if you'd like.
I lost my voice.
Oh.
Sorry, my voice is a little gone. What I wanted to ask, I guess, is because all these guys were on Justin TV before, like, Twitch was even born. If they could see something on Twitch, like something new, it could be whatever they wanted, what would they want to see on the website? And it could be anything, even if it was from back in the Justin TV days or something that, you know, that they thought about and, you know, wanted to maybe see on the site.
So it sounded like you were like, inventor, love you, man. You're like asking like what we'd want to see, like we could have anything on the site?
Like if you guys could see, like if there was something that like you guys could see on the website, right, to improve it, I'm saying, like, what would you guys want on the website? Because it's changed so much.
Oh, sure.
From,
I mean,
from the Justin TV days, it's changed so much.
Oh, absolutely. It's changed a ton. And it's just really hard to say, like, you know, Man was saying, like, you know, the guys who are, like, running Twitch kind of have, like, this vision then, and we're just, like, you know, like, oh, that's really cool. Never thought of that. That's, like, an awesome thing. And, like, at this point, it's, like, so hard to, like, you know, ask for, like, you know, like, I don't know what I want yet, but, like, it's always coming anyway. Yeah. But, like, even, like, an experience like this, like, for me, like, it'd be cool if I just saw almost as like a virtual audience. Everyone, like, you know, at home watching, like, had like a virtual seat and had my, like, you know, monitor in front of me. I don't know, some of those lines. Honestly, I don't know what I want. Maybe somebody else has an idea of like something they'd love to see, like if it, in a blue sky situation.
An on-site polling system, so you can do it in the browser without having to go to straw poll.
Looks like that's pretty popular among the audience. Cool. Brad, did you want to tune in?
I'm hoping for a color change. I don't like purple.
Do you want the Zarth gray instead that was talked about last year?
I'll take yellow, anything but purple.
All right.
Thank you guys, and also like it's amazing to be here listening to you guys because I know where, you know, the hard work that you guys put in and paved the way for everybody that came before you, and, you know, me and everybody else. Never forget that. Thank you guys.
Thank you for coming, dude.
Hi, guys. Just want to say, love your work, love your streams. Keep up the good work, love it. just want to say, I know some people that have just got into Twitch and they love the site and they really want to get into streaming but don't know how. What advice would you give to new streamers, when they just want to start off creating their channel and start creating new, unique content?
I guess the biggest piece of advice, we get asked that all the time. How do you get viewers? How do you grow a channel? Every single person here has got a different story. Every person here has got a different route to success, and it might not work for one person, might not work for another. The one thing I would say is don't try and be like MANvsGAME. Don't try and be like DansGaming. Be yourself. The great thing about Twitch, about Justin TV, is you get to see someone else's story, no matter what country they're from, what religion, what sexuality, what gender. Everyone's got a story to tell. If you be yourself, you be genuine and passionate, you might not achieve, make it into a job or be super successful compared to other people maybe, but you will find a community on Twitch. You will find a niche. There are people out there that will enjoy your content, and it's such an incredible thing for to be yourself. So just be yourself, try hard, and one thing that Frag actually taught me is consistency. Casting as much as possible at the same time as possible. I'm still trying to learn it now. I still need that advice, but that's the biggest thing I could give. Be yourself and try and be as consistent as possible.
I think Dan also hit upon it earlier. Have fun. If you're not having fun, no one's gonna watch you. Think there's like thousands of people broadcasting at once. If you're not having fun, someone's going to click back, go to that same directory, and watch the guy who is having fun.
Yeah.
Make sure you're having fun. If you're not having fun, just take the day off. Just end the stream, be like, hey guys, gonna go, and come back tomorrow, recharge, and have a better time. But fun is the most important thing, one of the most important things, because no one wants to watch somebody who's miserable all day.
I would say make sure you play what you want. There's a lot of streamers who are very successful playing games that are very popular, but Twitch is so big these days, everybody's playing those games. But if you play what your heart tells you, there's always people that are searching for those games. Twitch lets you do that now, and that's when you're going to be at your best. So just do you, and maybe, there's going to be an audience that shows up and watches.
Awesome. Thank you for the question.
Wow, this is really awesome seeing you guys here. Wow. I never thought that Twitch would eventually come to this size and see you guys all in person. But talking about, how having fun on your channel is important and all that, all that stuff is great. But one question that was asked last year at the OG panel, that was directed to Lethalfrag. Everyone on that panel had something that Frag did not have. And I think that is the question that everyone wants to ask right now. 1 year later and one Hall of Fame induction later, where's your universal email, Frag?
Yeah! I still never asked her.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Mordine20. Most of you guys know me. I've been on the site for a little over 5 years, and my question was, having the knowledge that you guys have with streaming and all that, if it ended, what would you guys see yourself doing after that?
I would go straight back into a kitchen, 100%. Yeah. Go hide in the grill.
I was unemployed before I started streaming, so I hope it doesn't go wrong, because if there's anyone out there, my email. I don't know. I think Twitch is going to keep growing. I think Twitch is going to keep better. I mean, I think the one thing, all of us have learned from streaming is that, we're all community creators. We've all created our own little community on the internet, and, now you see all these big companies trying to have a piece of the pie. So I think, as long as you follow your passion, as long as you do something that's true to you, you're going to find success. I kind of found streaming by accident. It was no plan I had, like was mentioned before. There was no money or advertising or anything when all of us started streaming. It was just people doing it for fun. So I'll just find something else fun to do, and hopefully that will turn out. But Twitch isn't going anywhere, hopefully. Please.
Yeah, before I started streaming, I mean, I was so depressed. I was just stuck in like a, retail, bottom rung of the corporate ladder hell, and it was horrible. I don't think I would ever have to go back to that now, because I feel like with what I've
made here on Twitch. You know, I have a large enough community and a large enough following that hopefully I'd be able to sort of springboard off to, you know, like a hosting gig or, you know, working for some company in the gaming industry. I really hope that never happens, honestly, because being able to stream for a living, it really is a dream come true, just because of the freedom that it allots me, not only, you know, for like, you know, choosing my own hours, but also the freedom to say what I want to say on my stream. It's fantastic. So yeah, let's hope that bubble never bursts.
Awesome.
Hey guys, it's GQ. I know most of you guys up there.
What's up,
How you
buddy?
doing?
Hi, GQD.
I know you were talking about like things for the future, and one thing that I thought was cool was, do you guys remember back on JTV when they had like the producer badge and the I'm famous and stuff? Like, do you guys think it would be cool if they brought back like an achievement system on Twitch and like for like hours watched in a week, stuff like that? I don't know. Like, do you guys think it would be cool?
Dude, I am all for like further gamifying the site. I know some people are against or think like I'm about love like, you know, achievements. I think it'd be great. Like, you know, something that's like recognized across the site, or maybe like, you know, you've been subbed to like 5 different broadcasters for a full year, like dedicated. So, like, I mean, I think that's a really cool thing, and I'm all for it.
Hi, my question's actually for everyone. Throughout even the Justin TV days or even Twitch nowadays, what's been your like favorite memory that you've been able to form because of the experiences you've gotten from everything you've done?
I think meeting everybody is like one of my favorite things. It's like the first time I met this guy, it was fun. You just walked up to me, gave me a hug. The first time I met this guy, same thing. I mean, you spend so much time alone streaming that when you actually meet the people, it's just like, it's such a memorable experience. I'll never forget the first time I met some of my viewers. I remember the first time I met Swiftor, we slept together in the same bed. I'll never forget that. I remember though, I elbowed him in the face one morning and he woke up and he gave me the look of disgust like, you son of a... I'll never forget that one either.
Very cool.
I've got to like travel the world and meet incredible people and have experiences that I can never even quantify. But it all comes back to me when I first watched Swift's channel. I was watching streams for about 3 years before I started streaming myself. And I remember Swift was playing Viva Pinata and he named a worm after me. And it was like, I'm in the game, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened. And it's all, that's what Twitch is, that's what Justin TV is, that ability to share with people. No matter if it's wires and satellites and screens we're all separated by, we're all together on the internet, we're all sharing the same experiences. And it was a dawning moment for me watching Swift and being part of that game, everything that's come from that and the ability to share and be part of the same experience.
This answer is going to sound kind of egotistical, and it probably makes it, yeah, me, no, ego, yeah. One of the happiest things for me that I've been able to see in streaming and doing this is being able to bring along my friends, like my best friends, Ezekiel III, Dan Paul of the Sour Kool-Aid Show, Joey Girl, like my real life friends who I grew up with role-playing and hanging out with. They now, too, are also making a living streaming. Like, Twitch has become their lives. And, again, it's just that beautiful thing of seeing, like, just this you know, incredible, you know, blooming effect where, like, Twitch affects people's lives in very positive ways. But I think the first time seeing Ezekiel III, you know, doing his stream on his own, you know, it was just so amazing seeing that and seeing that he had, you know, his own audience growing. Dan Paul and Sour Kool-Aid Show, same thing. But that's just been incredible, just seeing how like Spamfish was saying, like if you are yourself, if you know get out there, you will find people who you know will enjoy your stream. So that's been, you know, my favorite memory.
All right, and we have one more quick question. Flame Goat.
Hi, guys. Quick question. I know in the early days, we had a lot of rivalries. Kreyg. For me, that was a lot of entertainment. It was a way of, with small communities, to get a lot of people out there doing things. I went about it the wrong way in a lot of ways. But how, in the early days, did those rivalries affect you negatively? and positively, with some of the good stuff and the bad stuff.
Well,
it was targeted towards
negatively.
you.
I don't think there was really any negative effect. I mean, maybe every once in a while someone would come trolling, and you know, it's easy banned. You know, they're done. You don't have to see them again unless they create a new account. But positively, I don't think there was any positive impact either. I mean, to be perfectly honest, there was no good or bad from it. It was just like, you know, oh, now I have to deal with this. But yeah, we definitely had a little bit of a rivalry back in the day. But hey, we're cool now. So.
As an aside to that, I wanted to say that it's really amazing that Twitch has gotten to the size that it has, where we no longer need that kind of stuff. And the OGs especially have kind of come together to form kind of a team of sorts, an unspoken team, an unspoken bond to help people move forward in a positive manner. And I want to say thank you.
At the end of the day, we're all in this together, so we got to help each other out. So, I mean, without that, then we're just a bunch of people fighting each other, and where's that going to get us? Nowhere.
So thank you.
Love you, man.
So I'm getting
talking about like
real
rivals
quick.
and stuff. Sorry, I was watching streams. I was a troll and used to know people. And I think I'm actually still banned in 4-player podcast. I think
what I said
that was
earlier.
a thing. You know, like the rules then were a thing, and it was like, why am I banned? But you know, it's an incredible place, and you know, every single one of these people. I think you've got to look at, you know, why are these channels successful? Why, rather than why is someone successful? Look at what they're doing. Look at why they're doing great things, and you can learn from every channel you watch on Twitch.
I was just going to say that kind of like that same sentiment. It's so easy to get caught up comparing yourself constantly to other channels, wanting the success they have, and you know, beating yourself up because your numbers aren't as high as theirs, or you know, they're lucky because they get the promotion here and there, whatever. It really, and yeah, the negative effect of that is of course you just, you know, endless paranoia and depression and, you know, isolation, which I have experienced. But it really, truly does help to just focus on your own setup. Like, just focus on your channel. You know, don't worry too much about what's going on other people's channels, because it will just become an endless, you know, downward spiral. Because there's always going to be somebody else, you know, better. And so I would say just focus on what you're doing on your channel.
So now, thank you. So now, in closing, I don't want to get too sentimental or personal, but I wanted to say this. When I first started broadcasting on Justin TV, I was a freshman in high school. Swift taught me the ways. I didn't necessarily have the same interests in what was popular in school, but JTV offered a way to express myself creatively, become an entertainer, and meet people with similar interests as me. This year, I graduated college, and to put it into perspective, it's been over 8 years since I first started streaming and had been a part of the JTV community. Thank you. I have known many of the people on this stage and at home for that time. Now, we all know when you grow up, people come and go throughout our lives. A lot of these individuals on stage have been there for me for all 8 of those years. That is a true friendship and is a testament to what the Twitch OG way is all about. So to all of the OGs in the audience and up on stage, can you please stand up? And a round of applause for everybody, please. I want you to remember a few things. All of us here want to hear your stories, whether it's just lending an ear for some quick reminiscing or to chat and talk about the old days. You are not alone or forgotten. And most importantly, know, without you, there would be no TwitchCon and there would be no Twitch. It is your passion and your support that has truly driven this revolution. A round of applause, everyone, for our panelists here. Lethalfrag, Spamfish, MANvsGAME, DansGaming, Kreyg, Sweetielise, Brad from 4-Player Podcast, and Swiftor. My name is Bobby Glass, a.k.a. Chingy1337. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for coming. Have a great rest of your TwitchCon. Take care, everybody. Thank you.